Hey, Annie Purdue Olson here, and I have been having several conversations with leaders lately about one common topic: delegation. Is delegating ever frustrating for you? Do you have those times where what you delegated away like comes back on your lap and you are doing it and scrambling to get it done? Delegating can be a really frustrating thing. You thought you were clear, you thought you made it clear, and you handed it off, but the message didn't get there. Maybe you sent it in an email, but they didn't read the whole email, so something got missed. Or maybe you had the conversation, but they didn't take notes, and so there were parts of what needed to be done that didn't happen because they were forgotten. Maybe you have a specific way that you like things to get done, and they didn't get done your way. Have you ever had that happen? This delegation thing is a bit of a tricky thing. You know, we became leaders because we are good at what we do. We were able to get things done. And so now we're in leadership, but that's a whole different ball game, because it's not about just getting things done, but now we have to take it to the next level, and we have to get things done through others. And that's what delegation is all about. So we need to be great delegators if we're going to be great leaders. And that can be really tough, because there are really, at the end of the day, tough things about delegating, because it's an interpersonal dynamic that can get a little crazy. And it can be really easy to get stuck in that reverse delegation loop. You know, that place where you delegate something and then it comes back on you and you're scrambling to get it done. That happens all too often. So if you're caught in that loop of reverse delegation, then I've got 3 tips for you. Something I want you to do right now is stop and evaluate how you are delegating in these 3 areas. First of all, check your expectations. Is it possible that your standard is a bit too high? Do you want things done your way? Well, not everyone has the same work style as you, and they're going to go about accomplishing tasks in a different way. So that doesn't mean that you can't have your way, but what I really want you to do at this point is stop and check, what are those expectations that are non-negotiable? What are your non-negotiables, and what can you let go of? All too often when we delegate, we micromanage because we want things done our way, and there's a certain way of doing things, and we want to see people do it that way because it worked for us. But just because it worked for us doesn't mean it's going to work for them. So it's really important that you take the time to stop and ask, what are my non-negotiables? And then communicate those non-negotiables, and then give freedom for them to roam outside of those expectations, outside of those non-negotiables, and so that they can take ownership of the project and do it their way. You'll engage people more in the process, and you will be less likely to get that task handed back to you when they have room to roam. The second thing that you need to stop and check if you're getting caught in that cycle of reverse delegation, you know, we've all been there. Well, check your communication, because, you know, are you communicating the expectations clearly? And we can even think that we're communicating the expectations clearly, but we're not always communicating them clearly because we have different communication styles. And so you could give a bullet list email, a checklist email to someone and say, here's what I need you to do, send it off, and think you've communicated clearly and concretely. But the person on the receiving end of that email is like, well, I really need to understand why it is that we're doing it that way and not another way, and they really want to engage in a discussion about that. And so you've just got a mismatch of communication, and something's going to get missed in that. Maybe it's that you had the conversation with someone on your team and you're telling them all about the why and all about what needs to be done and why it needs to be done. And they're like, just give me the list of what you need to do and I'll go do it. This is wasting my time. So you've got a mismatch of communication when you're in those situations when here's your style, but then that's their style. So what you really need to take a look at when you're communicating expectations clearly is, what is your natural way of communicating? What comes easy for you to try and communicate or cast the vision of what you want to accomplish or the goals that you're trying to achieve? But then also take a look at that other person's style and ask the question, how are they going to receive this message the best? And if you don't know, ask. One of the best conversations you can have with the people that you're leading is asking the question, how do you like work to be delegated to you? What are the ways that I could do that effectively? And finding out what their style is and then being able to adjust your style to accommodate that. Communication at the front end is necessary, but guess what? It doesn't end there. A lot of times we want to just like delegate it away and not think about it again. Wouldn't that be bliss? Well, the thing of it is that when we delegate things away, we still need to be checking in on the progress, and that's where communication comes in. There needs to be a follow-up strategy, and it's best if you can think about that follow-up strategy at the front end. Let the person know when you're delegating them the task, when to check in, when you're going to be following up with them, when you want to get feedback from them, and be really clear on that follow-up strategy. It can be really important for you because you need to know what new things come up. Because sometimes as leaders, we have an idea of how things can be done and how things are going to be accomplished, but then there's new information that comes up in the process. And as that person is going forward with what you've asked them to do, new information might arise. And there might be adjustments that you need to make in your expectations, adjustments that you need to make in your goals. And those check-in points are really important for you. They're also really important for that other person to make sure that they're staying on track, to receive feedback from you, and even to maybe get some positive encouragement along the way. Especially if they're new at doing what it is that you're asking them to do, they need that confidence booster that says, I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right thing. Now, follow-up can get easily turned into micromanaging, so be on your guard about that and have a conversation with your person that you're delegating to make sure that they understand what follow-up looks like and how it's not micromanaging, and understand what they think micromanaging looks like to them, because it looks different to all of us. So create that follow-up strategy together, and it's best if you can do it at the front end of that delegation conversation, and then follow through with it and make sure you're following through with it all the way to the end. Now, the third strategy, the third thing to check in on, if you are getting that reverse delegation cycle happening, so it's coming back to you, it's getting on your plate and you're scrambling to get it done. If you want to stop that cycle, the third thing you need to take a look at is check in on resourcing. Does the person that you're delegating to have the resources that they need to accomplish it? And when we talk resources, we think first financial resources, and that's easy to measure. Do they have it? Don't they have it? Do they have the technology resources that they have? But one of the things that we often miss is, do they feel like they have the authority to do what we've just asked them to do? Do they know what they can take action on and what they need to check back in with you on? Where is their decision-making authority in the project that you're delegating to them? And it's really important for you guys to get clear on this, because a lot of times people don't feel that they have the authority to make decisions, and so then it will come back to you. If they don't feel like they have the authority to just go and take action, then they're going to bring it back to you. If you can get clear on that at the front end, it's helpful, but even along the way, they're not going to be sure, do I have the authority to make this decision or not make this decision? And they're going to come back into your office and they're going to ask for your feedback. As a leader, at this point in the game, it is super easy for you to take that project back on and do it for them, or to finish that part for them. And it's well-intentioned. It's not because you don't think they're doing a good job or that they can't do it. You want to help out. You see them in the struggle of what it is that they're working on, and you want to make it easier on them. And so you step in and you do it for them. And that is why it ends up back on your plate. So what you have to do is, when they're coming back and checking in with you because they're unsure of this line of authority, is check in on, is this something that I need to make a decision about? Or is this something that they can make a decision about? And if you're unsure, then spend some time asking questions and draw out from them what they think the solution is. And in that process of conversation, you can help decide which direction to go and who will do what, and get clear on those roles. It is super easy to get caught in reverse delegation. We do it all the time, even if we check in on these three things. But if you are caught in that delegation loop right now, I want you to stop and ask yourself about these three areas. Check in on your expectations. Are they too high? Do you need to sort out your non-negotiables and give some room to roam? Check out your communication style. How are you communicating, and how do they like to be communicated to? Ask the question, what are the ways that you like me to delegate projects to you? And number three, make sure that they have the resources that they need. Help them for sure to understand where they have the room to make decisions. Where is their decision-making authority, and when do they need to come back and check in you? If you get those three things down, you are going to be more likely to not have reverse delegation and reverse ways of getting that stuff back on your plate, and it's going to stay in the plate where it belongs and not on yours. So if you have questions about delegating and you would like to strategize with your team about how to delegate, I would love to have a chat with you about that. A link to my calendar is in the description of this video, and I would love to just have a 30-minute conversation free of charge. Let's just brainstorm together for 30 minutes about what you can do to check in on reverse delegation and when it happens and how it happens for you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this video.